Okay, final question here on the extra pod. By the way, as we're recording this, this is a clip on YouTube that we're doing here. So if you want to listen to the full podcast, go over to Spotify and listen to that. And that's where you can get the full clip of this question here from Alan from Parkersburg, Iowa. By the way, huge location for a F5 tornado back in 2008, I believe, that destroyed the entire town. So, there's a little added context for how important that city is in the world of meteorology. But that's not the focus of this question. The question is, whatever happened to the Rebels, the Star Wars Rebels sequel animated show? For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, for those of you who you don't remember this. So back all the way, let's been in 2020. YouTubers of Kessel Run Transmissions, their name has changed a little bit. I think it's something else now. It's no longer ran by the same people. I think they've kind of moved on from that. But yeah, the folks over at Kessel Run Transmissions, a Star Wars YouTube channel. Again, they've had multiple names over the years, even before that. It was, I believe, No Way Outlaw and Corey Van Dyke brought up this story that they got from the source. These two back in the day were very plugged in to the world of Star Wars and Lucasfilm. They kind of had an idea what things are going on. They were the first, by the way, to break a lot of news about certain other animated shows that ended up happening. So yeah, these guys back in the day, they weren't idiots. They weren't like complete buffoons and whatnot. So these two reported, and this is a video they had on their channel before, I think a number of years ago. This is before, was it before Clone Wars Season 7 came out? I believe it was before Clone Wars Season 7. So it was around early 2020. Now, I believe the video has been deleted, which is weird. But they weren't the only ones who talked about it. I'll sort of circle back to that here in a little bit. But they're the ones who this part originated from. So they reported, again, this is Corey Van Dyke and No Way Outlaw, reported that there was a Rebel sequel show in development. Now, it wasn't technically a Rebel sequel show. It was more or less a continuation of the story that was spelled out in Star Wars Rebels. And of course, for those of you who don't know what happened at the very end of Star Wars Rebels, of course, Thrawn gets defeated, Great Admiral Thrawn, by the Space Whales and Ezra, and they go off to, of course, as we know in the Ahsoka series, the other galaxy. I forgot the name. Is it Peridia or something like that? Yeah, I think it is a Peridia. So they go over there, and of course, in the Ahsoka series, they sort of tell you, it shows how they end up finding Ezra, as Ahsoka, Sabine, and whatnot. So that's basically what the show was going to be. But it was going to be in animated form, and I believe that both Corey and Noah brought up that they even saw, or they were even given, I guess, like images of like pre-visual animation that was supposedly in the Clone Wars style of how the show was going to look. They were even told that several of the Rebels voice actors were coming back and they were going to do the voice for a lot of their characters. So this show was well into production. A lot of folks were first very skeptical about it, but at the time, knowing, and of course, down the road, we eventually learned, hey, Ahsoka was going to show up in Mandalorian Season 2. So even that was even adding even more fuel to the fire. So yeah, there was a ton of evidence about this. I mentioned earlier that they were not the only ones who covered this. I believe Josh over at Den of Nerds talked about this, even had Corey and Noah on his show back in the day talking about this. So this was real. This was a legit thing, and this was going to happen, and it got canceled. And the reason why it got canceled is mainly because this was during the filming of Mandalorian Season 2, which I believe is where this rumor, or at least the idea of this started to happen, or at least got more traction. And I'm assuming this was even before that, probably going all the way back to 2019, probably 2018, when this idea of a Rebels, sequel show was a thing. That it wasn't until Mandalorian Season 2, and Filoni and his experience working with Favreau and doing the first season, then doing the second season of the show. And it was during Mandalorian Season 2, the second season, where Filoni was convinced by Favreau, hey, I know you're doing this animated show that's, dealing with, finding Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra. That was going to be animated and whatnot. I know that you've been putting a lot of work into it, but I'm just telling you, you should do this live action. At least that's, I think, what the story is. And I think Filoni decided, all right, I'll do this live action. So they scrapped the animation. They stopped work on it. And then they told the voice actors, look, sorry, but we're moving on. We're not doing the animated version of it. We're going a different direction. And of course, I believe it was around late 2020 where Noah and Noah and Corey of Kessel Run Transmissions finally said, yeah, the show's not happening anymore. Maybe they'll revisit it, but yeah, that's what happened. So yeah, I think this thing is real. It is real. It has not been, as far as I can tell, anything that either, well, I don't believe anything has leaked out from this other than the information that those two were given. So like any like screenshots, any like things leaking out in terms of like the animation, like none of that stuff has ever been made public. So, and again, that stuff's out there. Again, Corey and Noah were very, very clear to say, look, we have seen, images that were given to them, I believe, of the animation being done. And that was going to be in the Clone Wars style. And they were also told that a lot of, again, the voice actors from Rebels were coming back. So this was real. And unfortunately, well, for some folks, unfortunately, that because of Filoni's experience with working with Jon Favreau with The Mandalorian, that this show is now, I guess, considered lost media. I'm not sure if it really is, but my thinking is here and what's going to happen. Again, I know a lot of folks are still denying this. A lot of folks probably have even forgotten about this, but make no mistake, this is real. And my theory is here, and sort of my feel is that once this Mandoverse gets wrapped up, right, however it's going to get wrapped up, right, and even that is sort of the future of that's kind of been put in a bit of a holding pattern, given what happened with the Mandalorian and Grogu and how it's basically a box office bomb and whatnot, and was not received very well. Whenever this is concluded, and I think this day will eventually come, where whether it's at a Star Wars celebration or just someday randomly on the internet, this will get revealed, and I believe it will be Filoni or someone saying, "Hey guys, back in the day, I was doing this animated show that was acting as a sequel to Star Wars Rebels, and this eventually became Ahsoka. And here's all the pre-visual stuff. Here's all the concept art. Here's all the pre-vis animation." I believe that day is going to come. Whether it's 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, it will all be revealed. I think it's going to happen within the next, 10 years. We will finally get this confirmed. And I believe those folks at Kessel Run Transmissions, Corey and Noah, will finally get their vindication that they were right. They were not making this shit up. This was real. Again, unfortunately, I don't believe Corey is doing YouTube anymore. I think Noah's also not doing YouTube anymore. So, like, I would love to have them on the show, doing an interview and sort of asking them, like, what actually happened and what information they have or they can reveal now. But I would imagine they probably wouldn't be able to. I'm assuming they want to get in trouble. But yeah, I do believe this is that whole thing was real, and I do believe within the next several years that eventually this will actually get leaked out, and we are eventually going to see what this actually was. But yeah, I mean, if you want to throw this into lost media and the whole lost media category, I guess you could. But yeah, if anyone has any information about this Rebels animated show, this sequel show to Star Wars Rebels, if you have any information, if you have any images, concept art that you may have, if you want to give to me privately through email or whatever, or my DMs on Twitter are open, by the way. So just reach out to me, because I am very, very interested to see how much material is actually out there. Because based on, again, from what Corey and Noah were saying back in the day when they were doing Kessel Run Transmissions, there was a lot of stuff that was at least provided to them, but they didn't publish it on the internet in lieu of getting copyright stuff, right? So I am just very curious, like, how much stuff actually is out there. I'm sure if you really do a deep dive and go to like Reddit and stuff like that, I'm sure there's things that are out there. But as far as I know, again, no previs animations out there. No concept art is out there, and not even like the full voice cast. Now, again, based on what Corey and Noah said previously, back a number of years ago, or now 6 years ago now, that again, yeah, a lot of the cast members were already recording stuff. And there was already animation being done. So again, if you have any information about that stuff, you like to have this stuff come to light, let me know, because I think this is something that a lot of folks who are fans of Star Wars, who are maybe are curious as to what actually happened here, I would love to know. And maybe in the future, on maybe at some point, we'll do an actual breakdown of this. We'll do a more proper video on this. But yeah, this shit was real. It was definitely real, and I feel very confident in that, even though I've never seen anything with my own eyes saying this was real. But excuse me, I do believe, based on the fact that, again, these two guys, Corey and Noah, knowing that a lot of the other stuff they reported on eventually was confirmed, that this was indeed real. And it just happened to be, wrong place, wrong time, where it just ended up getting scrapped. And it's now lost media, and no one knows where it is other than, I guess, Dave Filoni and the folks over at Lucasfilm. So, Yeah, Star Wars Rebels sequel show. It was real. And again, if you have any information about this show, you have any, you know, images or material you could provide to me privately to at least get a better idea of it being, or at least having an idea of what was actually out there, you know, circulating and whatnot. Let me know in the comment section or just DM me on Twitter. So yeah, thank you there, Alan, for the question there. But yeah, it's a very, very fascinating topic and one that I would like to explore more. Certainly, I'm surprised no one else has done it, other than again probably Josh over at Den of Nerds, but again Corey and Noah over at the time Kessel Runs Transmissions. I think it's the channel's been handed off to someone else now. I don't know if those guys are really active anymore. At least I know for sure Corey is not. I believe Noah still is. But yeah, this is a topic again I would really love to get more information on, and would like to know what else is even out there. Because again, it seems like this is something that just kind of popped up randomly in the whole Star Wars fandom, then it's now become lost media. And not to mention, too, a lot of their videos, at least the videos that Corey and Noah did, they're deleted. So, but the only ones that are still out there are I believe, Josh, Den of Nerds' videos. They're the only ones that are still available to the public, but all the other ones from Kessel Run Transmissions are all gone, I believe. They've all been deleted and stuff, which is kind of odd. But anyway, yeah, thank you, Alan, for the question there.